Guys? Mike here, head trader at True Trading Group. August 13th. Swing trade, kind of saving my day. I took a loss early on in a small cap in DMPI. I thought maybe we were going to have a chance to get some small caps that were going to come to life, and I took a shot on DMPI on its first pullback, but the stock just didn't have enough momentum in it to give you a continuation. After the moves that we had in RKDA and YRIV over the last day, or yesterday, last 2 days really, I thought maybe that was going to start to wake up some small caps. So when I saw DMPI making a move here early on, I thought maybe we had a chance. So I tried to buy like some on this pullback. It just kind of came straight through me. So I took a little bit of a loss there to start the day. But then I came back with a home run swing trade on ROKU that I'm currently sitting real pretty on, guys. This is an intended swing trade. I still am in some of this position. I'm holding it overnight, but I've already locked in 51% gain on the bulk of the position. I bought the 140 strike Friday expiration, so that's August 16th expiration. I bought those put options at $4 a contract, and I sold half of the position at $6.02. So that's like 51% gain on the bulk of the position. And we've since gone lower on ROKU, so I'm even deeper into the money on those contracts, and I'm holding on to the rest of this position, looking for some continuation lower. This trade was really all about identifying when momentum seems like it was starting to slow down in ROKU. ROKU has been on fire. Just this entire year, the stock has been on fire. I mean, you look at, guys, you're talking about, we started the year at $30. We just hit 140 today, 8 months later. But if you go to the daily chart, ever since they reported Q2, okay, this stock has gone nuts. And I felt like today the stock was just starting to get really like overextended up in here. And what I want to point out to you was some bearish divergence that I recognized on the RSI indicator on the daily chart. In order to do this, let me move myself. I'm going to move myself over here so you guys can see these indicators down here. Okay, because I want to focus on the RSI indicator. That was what really helped me kind of go after this trade. And then what we're going to talk about with this swing trade is the entry on this, how I was able to, or what I used to identify that, to come up with the trade idea. And then that was based on the daily chart and based on the RSI indicator, but and also on the MACD indicator, which are my two favorite indicators when it comes to swing trades. But then in addition to that, once coming up with the game plan and the trade idea, what did I use intraday to pick my spot and to pick my entry point? Because there's a very specific technical pattern, technical chart pattern on the intraday chart that helped me pick my spot and pick my entry, and it was a damn good one. And we were able to ride down this ROKU for, oh god, $6 now. We've been moving lower on ROKU, and those put options are really starting to climb. And if I get some further downside tomorrow, and then into Thursday, I'll be sitting real nice and pretty on those put options. So let's start to the daily chart and let's talk about ROKU. They report Q2. They have a huge gap up, all-time highs, and then the rally, and like the squeeze move kind of continues. But what I'm pointing out to you is this RSI indicator. All right, let me pull this up. This RSI indicator, I want to point out to you guys, look where the previous all-time high was. Okay, here's your previous all-time high on ROKU. At that moment, okay, the RSI indicator was at 82. Okay. Now we have this gigantic gap up and this huge extension move where the stock just absolutely explodes, $40. But the RSI indicator fails to make a new high. Okay, the RSI indicator fails to make a new high and is actually at 74, 75. Okay, while we're trading all the way up here at 140. Okay, this is much higher than its previous all-time high, but RSI not making a new high. This action, okay, when the stock price makes a brand new high, but the RSI indicator fails to make a new high, that is considered that's considered bearish divergence on the RSI indicator and could start to be a signal that the stock is starting to run out of steam a little bit, especially when the indicator is already in overbought territory. So we are in overbought territory. Anything over 70 on the RSI tends to be considered overbought. So the RSI is already in overbought territory, and we have bearish divergence on the RSI while in overbought territory. And that's what made me start to think to myself that, you know, this stock is overextended, it's overbought, and it's due for a pullback. So now let's pull down. Let me pull down this RSI, and let's take a look at the MACD. And the MACD indicator, this one was not as clear as the RSI because this actually did make a new high compared to that previous pivot high. Okay, you see the MACD indicator has actually gone up in value from that previous pivot high. However, when you go all the way back here, okay, the MACD indicator value, look where it was when the stock was at $90 or $100, not quite able to get back up. So now we're making all-time highs on Roku, but the MACD indicator is not making fresh highs compared to the price action back here on the MACD, but it did make a new high relative to the previous all-time high. So that's why, you know, the basis of this trade idea really stems from the RSI, indicator. Okay, it really stems from the RSI indicator. All right, so noticing that in the RSI is what led me to believe that we're overbought and we're due for a pull-in. Now that I know that, I'm not just going to haphazardly and just randomly go and buy put options in Roku. Now that I have a trade idea, I'm going to go to the intraday chart and try to find something intraday that gives me a clue as to an entry point. And when I start to notice in the morning was the formation of a head and shoulders pattern. Okay, here's your left shoulder, here's your head, there's your right shoulder, and right there is your neckline. Okay, so here's your neckline. Okay, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. So once I start to see this pattern forming, intraday, I already have the trade idea based on that RSI indicator for a swing trade on the short side. So I'm looking to buy put options in Roku. So I'm using now, I have that trade idea. Now it's time to go to the intraday chart and try to find a pattern that coincides with that thesis. A head and shoulders pattern is a trend reversal pattern. It is a bearish pattern that typically forms at the top end of an uptrend. Okay, it's a signal that the stock is running out of steam. Okay, so it's a signal the stock is running out of steam. That coincides with my thesis on the daily chart with the RSI that the stock is overbought. It's running out of momentum. It's due for a pullback. So right here is where I went ahead and bought put options on Roku. I'll take you guys to my trade announcements on the day. And here's that deep DMPI trade, guys. Like I said, I was red on that first trade of the day, but then came back with this monster Roku trade. Here you guys can see at 10:20, swing trade, bought Roku, 140 strike, 816 put option, $4. Stop loss if Roku breaks through, okay, and makes a new high. Okay, so there is the entry on the put options based on this head and shoulders pattern intraday. Okay, then we broke down below the neckline. Okay, you can see here we broke below the neckline. There's your neckline break. There's your neckline retest. And now all of a sudden that neckline becomes an area of resistance. So we broke the neckline, tested it, resistance, and the stock rolled over. And on that rollover, I took my first piece of profit off the table right there on the test of the low of the day. Why was that my first target? My first target on this trade? Because that was the low of the day today, but that also coincides with yesterday's high. Okay, so I wanted to make sure I'm taking my first piece of profit off the table in front of the low of the day, which is also the previous day's high. So there was my first take profit target on the trade. You guys can see here I took some profit off the 140 strike, 8.6 put option at $5. That's a 25% gain. Okay, on the first take profit. Let's pan this over. Let me delete these lines. Where was it? Okay, there's that first take profit. And then we pan this over. Then we roll over again. We accelerate to the downside. And then bang, right there, guys, was the bulk of my position off the table. Here you can see, took more profit, Roku, 140 strike, 816 put option at $6.02. That is good for a 51% gain on the bulk of my position and I still am holding on to some of these contracts. I'm looking for a move down to this area. Okay, I'm looking for 128. This is the area I'm looking for. It might take a day or two to get down here, but that's going to be my final profit target. So again, here's the entry. First take profit. So 25% of the, I had 20 contracts, guys. So there's the entry on 20 contracts, 5 contracts off the table, 10 contracts off the table, and I'm looking for a move down into this region for my last and final take profit. All right. So this is a really nice trade so far. Again, this is a swing trade. I still am holding on to some of this position. The one thing that I will add to this video and this lesson is, even though this was a swing trade, I've already taken the bulk of my position off the table. Why? Because my profit target was hit. I do not care if your profit target is hit within 3 seconds or 3 hours or 3 days or 3 weeks. When your profit target is hit, you take profits. You stick to your game plan. There's a reason why you came up with those profit targets going into the trade. When your profit target is reached, pay yourself. That means you were correct. You were right. Pay yourself for being right. Don't let greed take over. When your profit targets are hit, take them. So even though this was a swing trade when I entered the trade, yes, I still am holding on to 25% of my position, but I already took the bulk of my position off the table because my profit target was reached. Okay, I had 3 profit targets coming into this trade. The first was the low of the day. The second was yesterday's close. And the third is going to be the highs from Friday. Okay, so that is what I'm looking at here on Roku. But again, I'm playing with house money at this point. I also don't want to be too greedy on this trade. You're talking about, getting short the strongest stock in the entire market, which is what Roku has been. New all-time highs every day for the last week. So I also don't want to be greedy with this trade. I want to be strategic. I want to be meticulous. And when profit targets are reached, I want to take it off and I want to pay myself. And that's what I did. I've still got a piece of this trade left. We'll see what happens tomorrow and if we get any bit of some extension and follow through to the downside. All right. So good stuff, guys. Those of you that joined me today for TTG Tuesdays, I hope you guys had a blast. We had a good little showing from some members on the YouTube community. Guys, every Tuesday, the chat room is free. I call it TTG Tuesday. You can go to the website, TrueTradingGroup.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, you can click on a link on a little tab. It says TTG Tuesday. Register. You'll get a link that'll give you access to my chat room free for the whole day, every Tuesday. All right, so if you missed it today, make sure you guys sign up to jump in chat with me for free next week and see what we're all about, see my screen, hear me on the mic, the whole 9. All right, so we'll see what happens, guys, with this Roku trade, but already sitting pretty in the money with a 51% gain on the bulk. We'll see if I can get some more out of it. Like, comment, subscribe, flick that notification button with your mouse. I appreciate all the love in the comments. I respond to all of them. You guys have questions, let me know. I'm here to help. All right, take it easy, guys. I'll see you in chat tomorrow.